The company's annual office party was held at a luxurious hotel downtown, the kind of place with velvet drapes, polished floors, and chandeliers that looked like they belonged in a royal ballroom. Hannah, my wife, insisted I attend this time. She said it would be fun, a chance to meet her colleagues, to loosen up and enjoy a night away from the usual routine. She was unusually insistent, almost eager, and I had no reason to doubt her sincerity. So I agreed, thinking it'd be a harmless evening of cocktails, polite conversation, and awkward corporate jokes. I wore my best suit, the one she said made me look sharp in the shoulders, and walked in beside her, unaware that my world was about to collapse in silence. From the moment we arrived, I felt something was off. It wasn't dramatic, just a strange coldness clinging to the air around her. She barely introduced me to anyone, offering quick smiles and vague hand gestures. Her attention was elsewhere, locked her phone, always typing, checking, swiping. When I asked who she kept messaging, she brushed it off with a tight smile and said it was work-related. I nodded, pretending that made sense. I chose to trust her, even as a whisper in my chest began to stir, telling me something wasn't right. The night moved on in slow, awkward waves. She kept disappearing. First to grab drinks, then to find someone from HR, then again to use a restroom. Each time, she was gone longer than she should have been. I stood around making small talk with strangers, clutching a sweating glass in my hand, forcing myself to laugh at stories I didn't care about, trying not to notice a heavy space at my side where she was supposed to be. Eventually, something in me shifted. I couldn't pretend anymore. I stepped away from the crowd and wandered through a hallway that led to the back of the venue. The lights were dimmer there, quieter, more private. That's when I saw them. Hannah and a tall man in a gray blazer, standing near a service entrance, just beyond the glow of a hallway sconce. They were too close, too familiar. I froze behind a decorative pillar, the kind meant to hide ugly utility doors. But it ended up hiding me. My pulse roared in my ears. Hannah leaned into him, and then it happened. She kissed him, not a polite, meaningless peck, but something deeper, slower, full of the kind of passion that belongs in a room with locked doors. I couldn't breathe. My heart was trying to escape my chest. His hand slid behind her and lifted her skirt, and they both laughed like rebellious teenagers sneaking around behind the bleachers. I stood there watching it unfold like a scene in a film I couldn't turn off, paralyzed by the rawness of it. Fury built in my chest, tight and scorching. Every muscle in my body screamed to storm over, to shout, to tear them apart. But I didn't. I turned and walked away, my footsteps silent on the carpet, my fists clenched so tightly my nails dug into my palms. I reached the car and sat there alone in the cold silence, trying to breathe through the weight on my chest. I didn't cry. I just stared at the dashboard, blinking slowly, numb. When she came home later that night, she acted like nothing had happened. Asked about dinner. Made some joke about the wine being terrible. I laid there in bed, pretending to be asleep, my back turned to her, my insides hollow and burning. The next few days were held dressed in normal clothes. I said nothing. I watched her closely, how she smiled at her phone, how she seemed lighter, freer, like something inside her was buzzing. She didn't know I had already seen everything. I was just waiting for the right moment. A week later, I finally confronted her. At first, she laughed, a nervous, shrill sound that didn't match her eyes. She called me paranoid, insecure, ridiculous. But when I told her exactly what I saw, the hallway, the kiss, his hand, her face drained of color. She stumbled over her words, whispered that it was a mistake, that she didn't know what came over her, that it didn't mean anything. But her apology felt rehearsed. It didn't sound like remorse. It sounded like routine. I didn't sleep for nights after that. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw it again, her lips on his hands on her. I relived that moment over and over until it carved itself into my bones. It wasn't just the cheating. It was a casual way she did while I stood in the same building, completely oblivious. It was how easily she laughed with him, how normal it all seemed to her. Eventually, I packed a few bags, left my wedding ring on a nightstand, and walked out the door. I moved into a tiny apartment across town, a place with peeling paint and creaky floors, but at least it was honest. I told no one at first. When friends and family found out, they were shocked. Some refused to believe it. Others asked if I was sure. But I didn't need to prove anything to anyone. The memory of that hallway would haunt me long after the disbelief faded. Months passed. She tried to contact me again. Texts that said she missed me. Calls that went unanswered. Even an email where she said she still loved me. But I never replied. I knew if I did, I'd be stepping back into the same darkness. I wasn't going to let her break me twice. Instead, I focused on rebuilding. I poured myself into work, into long walks, into conversations that didn't feel like battles. I surrounded myself with people who didn't lie to my face and kissed someone else behind my back. Slowly, I started feeling lighter, free, like I had crawled out of a storm I didn't even realize I'd been living in for years. That office party shattered me, yes, but it also woke me up. Not all betrayals come with red flags or dramatic arguments. Sometimes they come wrapped in laughter and expensive dresses, hidden behind warm smiles and elevator kisses. Sometimes they unfold quietly, behind a decorative pillar in the dim glow of a hallway, where the truth comes crashing down with the lift of a skirt.